Hey everyone, shout out to everybody in the chat. Yo, hold up. Okay. Right when I hit the live button, baby bunny needed a huge diaper change and it was one of those where it was like I need to hurry up because yeah, I'm like hitting the live button and I'm changing her diaper. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me. I can hear me. Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Whew, I had to run. I had to run, Monica. I'm changing diapers, yo. Mommy duties don't go away. They're forever. Even when they're grown, they're still in mommy duties. It's just they don't go away. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right. I'm tired. I'm telling you, I had to run. I should have gotten my drink. Maybe I need to get my drink and take a drink. I'll be back, guys. Give me a minute. I'll be back. All right. All right. Hold up. This mic's going to bug me. Okay. Shout out to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I said, mommy duties don't stop even after they're done wearing diapers. It is what it is. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Let me see who I have in the house. Who? Okay, let me greet all the wonderful members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cash is in the house. Let's see who's here. Pugs, how you doing, Pugs? Peekaboo. Nebulous is in the house. Clarice, welcome. Teresa. Daisy, Neat Noodle. Everybody, Karma is a bee. Liz, Crescencia, how you doing, love? Kat, how you doing? Hold up, let me turn this TV down. Who else? SW, Christy, welcome. Karma, Teresa, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody come through. LG, how you doing? Everybody come through. Let's see. Emily B, Sandra, how you doing, love? Jill. All right, we're all here, I think, for the most part. Everybody that needs to be here. Peekaboo, how are you doing, love? Daisy girl, Tammy, welcome. All right. Cascadian Roots, welcome. Jill, Jess V, Stephanie, welcome. Melissa, how you doing, love? Hope you're doing well. Okay, I think I've caught everybody in the comments. Shout out to all the wonderful members and all the subscribers. Shout out to everybody. Hashtag the people have questions, right? I love that. Beth, how you doing, love? All right, everybody come through. So, I was supposed to go live on this yesterday, and then I was like, allowing my mind to kind of sit there and maybe consume some of this information that has been kind of put out there, just so I can understand a little bit more of the conservatorship part. I'm still very like confused as to why these people, and what I mean by these people is Leigh Anne and Sean. Why was a conservatorship chosen? And I am not an expert at conservatorships. Hell, I'm learning about conservatorships through this coverage with this whole Lima thing. I remember talking about it. I did maybe one Britney Spears video like 2 years ago. Um, and that's all I did. I didn't really get into it like that. I just remember it being a situation in which they were, you know, things used for financial reasons. Yeah, I'm confused about that too. And then I'm finding now, and shout out to the person, the subby that put this in my comments and said, in Tennessee, which is where all of this is going down, um, you can adopt an adult. So I don't know why this was an issue. I was able to find maybe an article for those that don't necessarily understand the differences between a conservatorship and say something like, ooh, hold up, I hear myself. Okay, let me stop. Stop, stop. Let me close that out. Sorry, I heard myself in the background. I was able to find an article to kind of help explain a little bit about like what is the difference between, conservatorship and adoption. Now, for me, it's like I know what an adoption is. At least I feel like I do, given that I've worked so many years in social services and whatnot. So I have a pretty good understanding of what that is. But I didn't quite understand like what is the difference? Why would they choose to give one over the other? And I think that that's an important conversation to have. Was there a money aspect to this? Um, Maybe Michael's behaviors back in the day. I'm just throwing shit out in the wall, right? See what sticks. Maybe back in the day, Michael's behaviors, um, ideally, they wanted to adopt him, all right? Because at the end of the day, they are reporting him as an adopted son. I'm not making that up. It is on their little website, which the website is linked to the court paperwork. Let me show you guys right here. This is Leigh Anne Tuohy's website. After the blind side, she talks about her family, and all this stuff. And then right here, right on Michael's picture is, and let me get this in front right here. It is the adopted son of Sean and Leigh Anne Tuohy. Michael spent most of his childhood in various foster homes and moved in with the Tuohys when he was 16. So clearly he was 16. Okay. Why not adopted at six? Why not? It baffles me. Now, the other thing, and shout out to BJ because I watched Emily D. Baker, and then I watched BJ's current live too, because a recent live as of today, where, and I think I had the same question and that was like the biggest thing that was laying heavy on my head. Um, why this decision? And also, like, has anything through this conservatorship throughout the years, has anything been held against Michael that they would have had to review the conservatorship or exercise some, maybe like contract wise? I know he got married. I don't know if that necessarily was an impact to the conservatorship, something to keep in mind. um, or what maybe contracts did it impact, maybe pay, like what was the reason? I never really understood that. They knew what was obscene as they made money for their bio kids, but not him, right? On a story that was supposed to be based on him. Books were written, right? I mean, even there's a couple of books. There's, I think, one book in the audibles. And that was interesting. But here, like, they're referring to him as their adoptive son. Now, I don't know. Maybe it was like a spiritual adoption. I'm just thinking in my mind, I'm like, help me understand this. Yeah. Oh, we'll watch that. We will watch that, love. We will watch that. And guess what? Let me tell you guys something. Somebody who was a classmate of Michael's spoke out too from like the high school, which I was like, oh my God. Okay. Mm. No, but this is a good question, Miss Kyle. Has the investigation done by the college sports agency, can't think of their name, yeah, me neither. Need more coffee. Has that been looked into? They didn't find anything wrong according to the book or movie. Right. Even in the movie. It's been years since I've watched the movie, but I remember watching it a couple times. I think I remember there was like the way they portrayed him is like a kid that was, bad neighborhood type of situation. Nobody was taking care of him. He didn't even know how to read or write or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that really needed to be saved from a really bad situation. Yeah, the NCAA. Thank you. I'm pretty sure that's what she means, and I'm pretty sure that's what I mean too. So I kind of wondered about that. And my questions and issues. Are you talking about the Aunt Debbie, attorney Aunt Debbie? I was thinking about that too. I said Aunt Debbie because it was a family friend, right? It's an attorney family friend. What kickbacks? I have even further questions as to what kind of a judge, um, and I don't know. I mean, this was back in 2004, 3, 4, right? Um, like it might have involved the mother too. That's what I'm understanding too. Did anybody receive any payments from this? Did mom say, I agreed to this because this is going to provide a better life for my kid. I agree to this. This will get him out of the system. I don't understand because they already had money, right, Chico? Like what was the issue? Now some people have said it's because of the school and they were part of this school and this was going to help in their situation. Really? Because I thought he was like, wasn't he good enough already in terms of like playing? Um, it just doesn't quite make sense. It just doesn't. So here is the website. She calls him the adopted son of Sean and Leigh Anne Tuohy, although it's not the legal adopted son. He's just, and I guess nowadays you can refer to anybody as an adopted so and so. I don't know. I don't know. Let me show you guys something here. And shout out to Chico who sent this to me. Was this it? Yes, it is. It's right here. This is an exclusive Michael Oher's former high school teammate response to the allegations against the Tuohy family.
Teammate of former NFL player Michael Oher is weighing in on new allegations he's making against the family he lived with that became the subject of the Oscar-winning movie The Blind Side. The story getting national attention again tonight with the family firing back that they tricked him about being adopted, and they obviously disagree with that. Well, in the legal filing earlier this week, Oher, who played for Memphis's Briarcrest Christian School as well as Ole Miss and the Baltimore Ravens, claimed Sean and Leigh Anne Tuohy lied about adopting him. Instead, he says they had him enter into a conservatorship, an agreement the family said in a news conference today they plan on ending. Well, Stefan Reels has more on that news conference, as well as what Oher's former teammate is saying tonight.
Why are they so? Yeah, they plan on ending it, but why didn't they end it sooner? That was my question. As social worker says, I cannot understand how an 18-year-old, without knowing, he should have had a day in court to describe why they needed a guardianship or not, or even like why did they waive the GAL part? I didn't understand that. Like they just agreed to it, didn't really think about like, well, could this bite us in the ass later on? Just because they had money doesn't mean they weren't in deep debt. Ooh, you think so? They're trying to halt this before their financials get looked at. Tinkletits is like, lock the damn family up. Tinkletits. Yo, I didn't even see you in the chat. The first comment you say is lock the family up. Oh, Lord. Come on now, Tinkle Tits. I'm pretty sure he was 18, but he was still in high school. Right, Kelly? I don't know. Cleopatra says modern slavery, in my opinion. Look, I have no idea about I'm telling you, I'm learning. And even though, like, as somebody who worked for, child services, I know what it's like to have um, custody, right? When the state has custody over someone, like I understand that concept. I just don't understand the concept of taking somebody's complete decision-making ability. Now, that's with children. Adults is a whole different avenue. I just don't understand that concept. And then um, being irresponsible with it. And I would agree, like, why isn't there more transparency on this? And what kind of a judge would agree to something like this or sign it without even like putting a measure to say, all right, upon every, I don't know, 2 years, every 24 months, we will review this conservatorship. No, nothing in like no clause, no nothing. Did they say this kid is a superstar, whatever? He's gonna, make us rich or make everybody rich, and we just want to be able to control the money. Cash says, lock Tinkle Winky up. Stop. No, no, Cash. Thank you for the $4.99. Pug said, actually, the rumor is that Michael is the one is broke and has been for years. The Tuohys are far from broke. I don't think that that's the case. I mean, shoot, why don't I think you can like look up his net worth? Hold up. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I know people have said different things, but I don't think this man is broke. And I'm not, I don't know his finances, but I'm pretty sure I have not heard that he's broke or anything like that. That's what I've said, and term limit. Yeah, term limit on these freaking conservatorships. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it says 16 million for Michael, right? So why would he be broke? Listen, unless there's some clause to his billions, I don't know. Why would he be broke? If you are in public courts to control someone, something, then the court case itself should be public. I would agree with you. Only made 30 million from his NFL. I love how you say only made 30 million and made a lot of charity drops and built stuff for kids. I'm like, I mean, if I can just have a meal from that, we will be fine. You will never see me again. Even if he's broke, right. That's the point, Ducky. That's like, listen, that's the point. The lack of transparency. It's like this. Even if he wasn't like, say that this situation is nothing like Britney Spears. Okay. Say that that's what it is. It's nothing like Britney Spears. Nothing was happening with him to the severity of like Britney Spears. Okay. Why is there a lack of transparency? Why is there so much misinformation about what happened to him? Why make a movie? And even though maybe the movie didn't tell people that he was adopted, but the damn website says that he is an adopted son. Why isn't there more transparency to this? Like, why? And I understand people have said, that there was a family text message or something about some, him coming around and exposing shit. Well, I mean, why not? If he's threatening to expose, go ahead. This is his story to tell. This is his situation. And if they felt some type, I don't think it makes him look any type of way. I think if anything, it makes the Tuohys look like shit because they weren't forthcoming and they haven't been forthcoming at all with what their situation has been. You know what I'm saying? Like even like they have made this guy out to be somebody's charity case. Look, this shit drives me crazy. Look, let me just show you. All right. Right under where Michael's picture is at, they have this quote. When someone comes into your life like Michael, trust me when I tell you that you, the giver, will benefit much more than the receiver ever will. We truly learn about being a real family when Michael came into our lives. We were fooling ourselves before. Okay. One simple, random act of kindness opened our eyes to the true meaning of what a family was all about, although not legally. Yo, why is this guy a poster child for somebody's like hero story? This shit would drive me crazy. This man was playing. He discredited the story of the blind side for many, many, many years. Just I don't know. I just don't like it. That exactly that was the base, wasn't it? The movie was a lie, which really sucks. You know? I don't know. Are we just giving conservatorships to just about anybody that wants it, that requesting? You mean to tell me that this kid was in foster care? So he goes to the redundant process of seeing a social worker every so often, moving from foster home to foster home, and all this other stuff, having to change schools and whatnot, adjusting themselves to what their current living situation is, to now living with the conservatorship on top of them. And then now they're willing to give up they didn't do it when he was 25. Now that he's 37, they're going to say, yeah, yeah, we're done. We don't need the conservatorship anymore. Just kidding. That's it. We're done. It doesn't make sense. I think conservatorship should only be granted when more of a burden than rewarding. Right. And there should be more transparency to this. I'm just saying. Let me play this.
Live downtown with the latest. Stefan?
Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Richard, you said it yourself. Family lawyers told me today these allegations are ludicrous and are pushing back against a lot of the claims Oher has been making. But we could be in for a long road. I sat down with one of Oher's former teammates, Joseph Crone, who's now a lawyer, and he said that we could be in the beginning of a very drawn out and ugly process.
I mean, it's just tragic almost.
In 2004, Joseph Crone played alongside Michael Oher on the Briarcrest Christian Saints football team.
He doesn't want like a 6'7", naturally gifted athlete to kind of be your anchor on the offensive line. And so that year we had the ball. We had a lot of fun.
Since high school, Crone went on to become a lawyer, giving him a unique perspective on the ongoing dispute between Oher and the Tuohy family. In a legal petition Monday, Oher claims the Tuohys didn't adopt him like many believed, but instead tricked him into a conservatorship.
I'm a little bit shocked by some of it, if it's true, and there are serious misgivings here.
In a news conference Wednesday, attorney Randall Fishman said Oher knew about the conservatorship in 2011 when he released his autobiography. Fishman added, in wake of Oher's legal challenge, the Tuohys would gladly terminate the conservatorship.
There was one thing to accomplish, and that was to make him part of the family so that the NCAA would be satisfied, because Sean would have been a booster of the university.
Over the course of these allegations, many like Crone also questioned why Oher wasn't assigned a third party,
Exactly,
in conservatorships, to help decide what is best for the minor.
He's not going to have the ability to bargain for himself or even make medical decisions for himself. I mean, that's fraud.
In response, Fishman said a judge actually signed to waive that point person, deeming it unnecessary since Oher was 18 years old at the time and his mother was present. And Richard Fishman gave me a copy of the court documents I have in my hand right now. Right here, it says,
I love how we all have the same court documents with the same watermark. Shout out to us, because I got the same ones. Shout out to the person that messaged me with the court docs. I appreciate you so much for doing that. I saw that you forwarded them over to me, and I appreciate you for that. The original petition isn't online, at least not publicly, but the order appointing co-conservatorship and the waiver of appointment of a guardian ad litem are. The 2004 court documents are bait stamped, so it looks like the petition and other sorted documents total of 40 pages. Shout out to you, love. Thank you for doing that. Looks like the petition to terminate the conservatorship was filed. Interesting. Ooh. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the person. I didn't want to name the person out loud because I don't want to get them in trouble or anything. And they didn't excuse me for, they didn't give me the okay for a shout out. So I want to be careful. You think this is a shakedown? He got upset when he discovered that he was not adopted, meaning no monetary gain in the estate of the family in the event of death. Shawnee, say more. Okay, so he knew about it the whole time. So no deception? Mm. Well, public deception, right? Shawnee, wouldn't you agree with that? Public deception? Wow. Cupcakes. It's like, is there going to be a sequel to this? Like the real side instead of the blind side? The non-blind side? The rear side? I don't know. Just throw it. Shawnee says correct. Shout out to Shawnee. There is no notice of documentation that the court notify Michael. I don't know. That's a good question. Their lawyer just explained why the NCAA found no wrongdoing. That makes sense. That's why they did it. Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll look into the lawyer and what he said, but just, I don't know.
It's December 7th, 2004. That's when the judge decided to waive the point person that could help out or in the situation. It's also the exact same day the conservatorship was signed in the first place. Live in downtown.
You ain't never lie. Yeah, this gives a whole new meaning to the blind side, all right? Just saying. It really does. No pun intended. Let me pull the attorney, press conference.
Petition filed by Michael Oher.
Hold up.
By now, Steve Tuohys and I, along with Marty Singer, California, representing the Tuohy family, as a result of a petition filed by Michael Oher. 48 hours ago, a bomb dropped on our clients. To say they were devastated by these allegations.
Wait, but why would the bomb drop? Like by the allegations, the fact that they were made, or that I feel like they kind of knew it was coming. If they knew, if Michael knew about it and he had been threatening, allegedly, this is what they've been saying, the family's been saying this, that there was a threat already to have exposed them. Why is there a bomb? Why has the bomb got to be there? Maybe like a little, firework, but not a bomb. Stop it, Lexi. Yo. Y'all are messy, man, Lexi, but you're funny. But you're a little messy. Shout out to you.
Is truly an understatement. Sean and Leigh Anne, for my money, are salt of the earth. They would never do anything to deprive Michael of anything that was his. And they remain devastated. It's going to take them a while to come around and get to where they need to be. As it relates to the allegations, this lawsuit, this petition, was built around an alleged fact that Mr. Oher did not know that he was not the adoptive son of the Tuohys, but rather there was a conservatorship. He alleges he just found that out in February of 2023. Fact of the matter is, he wrote a book in 2011. And in 2011, he acknowledged in that book on 3 separate occasions in that book that there was in fact a conservatorship.
Ooh, what do you guys think about that? Tinkletit says, but I'm a simple country lawyer. Shout out to all the lawyers. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick before I get into it. Anthony, you're not the first person who said this. It says, I feel like this was a fraud and Sandra Bullock should kindly give her Oscar back because this movie was not true. But Sandra Bullock was just the actress. Why are y'all running down Sandra? What's wrong with Sandra Bullock? Like, I don't know. Sandra Bullock and everybody else I think she earned the Oscar. The fact that, come on now, you guys know, half of the movies that are in Hollywood that say based on a true story, I would probably bet maybe about 2% of them actually are. You know, I don't think it's their fault. I don't know. I don't think it's their fault. I'm just going to say that. So what? Why was he still under a conservatorship as a grown man? Yeah, even okay. I'm like, why is he raising issue on this? I don't think, if I remember correctly, the court docs, and we can pull them again. It says in there that there's 2 different occasions. I think it's paragraph 7 and a different paragraph. I can't remember which number it is, where it mentions a conservatorship. Number 7 definitely led me to believe, the way it's written, that he didn't know. However, even if he did know, why was this man still under a conservatorship? Like, why even keep it? And now the question is this: and the other side of this argument is, why didn't Michael speak out sooner, after in 2011 when he wrote this book? If he mentioned conservatorship 3 times in the book in 2011, why didn't he also make issue about it then? Why now? Interesting. Hold up, let me see. I don't know, Laura. That's a good question. He knew in 2011 what it was. Can't believe he didn't know what it was. Right. This is my question. It's like, that would be my question to Michael, that I would like to understand from the attorney side. If it was an issue back then, or at least if he noted it in 2011, he wrote it. This attorney is saying he wrote it 3 times in there in that book. Why didn't he raise issue about it? Why did he wait till 2011? Or excuse me, why did he wait? Why didn't he go sooner? You know what I'm saying? Why now? Why didn't he raise issue about it sooner? Just a thought. Just a thought. Like, I guess he was comfortable speaking about it, but did he truly know what it meant? I don't know.
The Tuohys have treated him and taken him in like a son. They have fed him. They have clothed him. They sent him to school.
They have profit from him too. Please stop. Okay, keep going.
Certainly, he had an automobile. They've done for him like they've done for their other children. And I think Sean said it best, that he still loves him today at age 37 like he did when he was 16. Mm-hmm. I am at a loss, as is Mr. Faris and Mr. Singer and everybody else.
No, we're not victim. Starry, Crystal Knight, are we going to? No, I'm not victim blaming. I'm asking the question that I think a lot of people are kind of wondering. Are we going to victim blame if he is somehow mentally unable to make his own decisions? Well, is he? I don't know, right? I'm just asking the questions. Does conservatorship, why did he have to speak up? I'm asking, if he knew, if he wrote about it in 2011, why wasn't he able to speak before about it? That is not victim blaming. That is a question that I have. Very much difference. I'm not saying it's his fault. No, it's the other side of the argument. It's the other side of having another question. But yes, oh no, I was like, Starry, are you coming at me? I was like, what? A court hearing would have ascertained whether he understood. Right. He wasn't even given a court hearing. He didn't have a GAL, right? So it's like, I just wondered, you know? Shout out to Emily. Let me see. He, like most of us, didn't understand what a conservatorship really was. Yeah, I would say I still don't understand what a conservatorship, what it all entails. I know that it has to do with finances, right? But they could have adopted him and they didn't. So why? The question still remains for me, for the Tuohys, why a conservatorship? It doesn't make sense. He and his family were all tricked because they thought it was the same thing as an adoption. We don't know what those conversations look like with his biological, with his mother, right? I don't know. This is a good question. Was medical diagnosis, which would have had to be petitioned by 2 physicians? Has the law changed between the time that this was filed to where we're at right now, as far as that goes? Laura says they lied to him and they said they adopted him. I fed, clothed, and watered all kinds of kids that don't belong to me. I love you for saying that. I didn't put them in conservatorship or claim that they were my kids. Thank you for saying that. And you're not asking for a certificate. So shout out to you, Laura, for putting that out there. I think that's an important thing to put out. What is morally wrong? Maybe, sure, but was it legal? Yes. That's a good point. That is a good point. Morally, to me, it is wrong that morally, which we all have different morals here, morally, it's wrong to me that there was no oversight over this conservatorship. Legally, did they do something wrong? I guess I'd like to know. I guess I'd like to know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he thought the conservatorship was an adoption too, if he was special, like they made it sound like in the movie. He maybe didn't understand the process. Maybe he thought this was one, like it said on the petition, one step towards adoption. You know what I'm saying? Like another step. But it still leaves a lot. Yeah, I would agree. Shout out the story. I think I'd scared her. I was like, I'm not victim blaming. But Laura says, girl, yes, the attorney is going to victim blame because that's what they're going to turn it around. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do what they have to do to defend their client. Not if he was defrauded in conflict of interest with attorney Debbie. Now, Aunt Debbie, whatever happened to her, okay? Because now I have a lot of questions. Los Federales, the goal of conservatorship is to protect the person who is unable to care for themselves from being victimized by people with dishonest intentions. So, who was he a target to? Michael. He should have had a guardian ad litem at the time to represent him or somebody to review him to explain everything. This is what happens when you do shit like this and you don't involve the appropriate parties. And why did they stop that? I've had to deal with a lot of guardian ad litems when I was a caseworker. Shout out to them. It can be a pain in the ass, but shout out to them. They're doing their job just like I'm doing mine. It works very well. All right, let me hit play on this.
Associated with the Tuohys as to why or how he has come to the position he's come to, but he has. Court of law is no place to play. This is basically a lawsuit. As it relates to a conservatorship, that order was entered in December 7th, 2004. National Signing Day that year, the following year was.
Yes, social worker, if they're part of the state custodies and they're aging out of foster care, which I think in most states can be 21, 22, you can have a GAL until the court, releases the department, releases the state, and then they release the attorney as well. But yeah, they could be there for quite some time.
In February, it was on February the 2nd of 2005. So he had a pretty short window.
Now here's my question. Because they're saying that the story goes of Michael, and this is something I was thinking about. I said, okay, and not that we can get any of these records because he was a child when this happened, right? The story goes that he had some DHS involvement. Keep that in mind, right? If he had DHS involvement, and he was in foster care, did mama, I don't think they ever, and I'm assuming this because if mom had anything to do with the conservatorship, it's very likely that they did not terminate her parental rights whatsoever. However, there was probably temporary custody granted to the state. So I'm kind of wondering, what did the Tuohys do? Like, how did DHS get released from Michael's case? Because they would have had to have petitioned them if they had an open court involvement. And typically, if you're putting kids in foster care, depending on what state it is, typically some states have like a 90-day window before there needs to be a filing in court. If they're in foster care, before there needs to be a filing in court where the court needs to be petitioned and custody needs to be given to the state, right? Temporary legal custody, okay? I'm kind of wondering what that looked like, because if that is the case, then I'm wondering, well, did DHS just say we're stepping out because the Tuohys are taking over? Then they could have gotten an adoption through there, or guardianship through there, or something through there, through the Tuohys, right? And then DHS could have closed their case on Michael and been done. Where did DHS stop caring for Michael? When and where? How did that happen? Or did mom say, I'm gonna step up temporarily so the Tuohys can take over my kid? When the parent steps up and decides to work with the department, then it becomes easier for the department to close the case, and kid'll go back home to wherever that is. I know I went on a tangent on that, but that is important, and I'm kind of wondering, I don't know if any of these records or court documents are going to show anything about Michael's DHS involvement, because I just don't think that they could have stepped away without determining who was going to continue to care for Michael while they closed their case. All right, let me stop.
We all know that Oher was a tremendous lineman, great player, great history that he's made for himself on the football field. At the time, and I might be wrong about this, you might check the stats, you sports guys. I think there were 3 schools in the running. Came down to Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU. And I could be wrong about that. I wouldn't put my hand on the Bible and swear that, but I think that's right. The only way, given the NCAA rules at the time back in 2005, that he could sign with Ole Miss, is he became, according to the NCAA, as part of the family. They sought legal counsel, and basically they wanted to give him the opportunity to choose wherever he wanted to go, including Ole Miss. He was not told to go to Ole Miss. That was his choice. But in order to get that done, they had to make him, as I say, part of the family. That's the route they chose. You had a very short period of time between the time that occurred and National Signing Day. And I think the rest is history as it relates to football. With that, I'm going to ask Mr. Faris, my dear friend and colleague, to make a few comments.
Interesting. B. Cannon says, is it B. Cannon? DHS lost him in the system. He was a runaway from foster care, kept going back to mom. What does it mean to be lost in the system? I worked with DHS for 10 years in various programs. It's a very, what does that mean? What does it mean? Does that mean that the social worker didn't keep track on him? The DHS department, he kept going back to mom. What does that mean? They had to have done something with this case. Something must have happened there. Not to say that it didn't happen. I'm just like when I hear this, it's like, all right, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like my mind's like, yeah, and what happened? A lot of kids get lost in the system, absolutely. But what does that mean? Something happened to the case. If it was legal through the court, something happened to the case. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Some of you guys said something very interesting. Hold up. The family is super shady. Ooh, this family, you mean the Tuohys? Super shady, manipulative. I wouldn't be surprised if they had something to do with the murder of what? Oh my God. Listen. And if they had anything legal with DHS, they would have had to have determined who paternity as well. So just a thought. So I don't know.
One of the things that needs to be kept in mind in this particular case, when we're talking about a conservatorship, we're not talking about high-profile Hollywood cases. We're talking about a family trying to help someone in need. The Tuohys did not control any of Mr. Oher's finances. Mr. Oher picked his own agent. When he signed pro, Mr. Oher signed his own contract and negotiated it through his agents. In fact, he went through a total of 3 agents. The Tuohys had recommended one agent, but he decided to go with another one. He became dissatisfied with that agent, hired another one, became dissatisfied with that agent, and then hired another agent that was recommended by the Tuohys. They did not share in his monies. They did not control any shoe contracts, anything of that nature. The Tuohys treated him like a son. They loved him. And believe you me, there are more expenses to college than just getting a scholarship. And they provided not only financially, but the love and affection that parents should give. And they were able to give it. They don't need his money. They've never needed his money. Mr. Tuohy sold his company for $220 million. He didn't need Mr. Oher's money. This is a sad day. It's devastating to the family, and we hope that it doesn't have a chilling effect on others who want to help needy individuals. Questions?
Mr. Singer said in a statement yesterday that Oher has previously done this and threatened negative press on the family if they didn't give him $15 million. Can you speak about that, kind of what happened with that before?
Well, simply we believe that to be correct and will be shown in court through text messages.
Who was representing the Tuohys at the time when this was going on, do you know?
I was.
So can you speak a little more how that got disposed of? Is it still going on? What happened in that matter?
I don't understand your question.
So I mean, so how did that eventually, when he came before and threatened this money and threatened the negative
We
press?
said we're not going to be strong-armed. We haven't done anything. We're not going to be extorted.
Why wasn't the conservatorship ended earlier? He's 37 years old.
Well, let me answer that.
Answer it.
They were appointed conservator of the person. There was no estate for which to file accounting for, and frankly, nobody even thought about it. He did all of his own finances, as Steve said. He entered his own contracts. He had his own agents, and frankly, nobody even thought about it. The Tuohys have said on the record more than once since this started some 48 hours ago, they'll be glad to enter whatever order they want to terminate the conservatorship.
Why wasn't he adopted back then?
It didn't make any difference to the Tuohys. There was one way, there was one thing to accomplish, and that was to make him part of the family so that the NCAA would be satisfied, because Sean would have been a booster of the university. We've all seen that with our own University of Memphis and Coach Hardaway.
But why not adopt him? Why not? That doesn't answer. He said, he didn't answer the question. Nobody thought about it, but so the conservatorship was the only way to make him part of the family? Am I hearing this? Am I the only one that heard this? Hold up. Let me go back a little bit, because I just, sometimes I get wax in the ear. Sometimes I don't hear right. Hold up. Did I hear this correctly? Let me just.
It didn't make any difference to the Tuohys. There was one way, there was one thing to accomplish, and that was to make him part of the family so that the NCAA would be satisfied, because Sean would have been a booster of the university.
So my rebuttal to that, because it said adoption took too long. So let's just say that they did the conservatorship first and then the adoption later, and then canceled out the conservatorship. There was never an intent to adopt him. Am I hearing that correctly, though? I'm just wondering. I could be wrong. I mean, all right.
We've all seen that with our own University of Memphis and Coach Hardaway, but that was the reason.
Daniel Wilkerson, Fox 13. Can you give me an estimate as to how much money the Tuohys have made off of the Blindside, the movie, versus how much Oher has made off of that movie?
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, they've all, each member of the family has received.
He said, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve. All right.
The same amount of money. So imagine a pie divided by 5. Okay. We estimate each person received $100,000. Each person in the family.
Wow.
Including Mr. Oher.
Correct.
Including Mr. Oher.
Correct.
That money, did it come directly to the Tuohys and then they divvied it up and gave Mr. Oher his portion?
That's correct.
Let me go on to
Sorry, I muted myself. Talked about Mercury Films. No, in Tennessee, you could adopt over the age of 18 as well. So he wouldn't have been to, you can adopt an adult in Tennessee, which is where all of this is playing out. So he received money. Is that what they're saying? I guess they're going to have to show for it, right? If that's what they're saying.
That. After, as we know, in 2004, in those years as an NCAA athlete, he couldn't earn any money. He couldn't have a job. He was straddled by the NCAA rules. So after that was over, Tuohy offered to CCA, I think it's called, we'll go ahead and send Michael's check directly to him. Well, they had to do a whole rigmarole. They confronted Michael with it. He suggested just leave it like it is. And every time Sean would get a check, he'd take a picture of it, he'd send it to Michael and send him a check. So Michael got every dime he had coming.
And they paid.
Who he said he got every dime. Every dime? Listen, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see when it is all, when Pandora's box is open, when they start looking at various things. I'm sure that they will. That's what they're saying, that they gave whatever, I think it was $100,000 each, including Michael, which in my mind, I'm like, but he's based off of the story. Why didn't he get more than that? He should have gotten a lot more than that. You know, that's just my thought, though. You know what I'm saying? No, DHS is not, thank you for saying that. Department of, no. There's the Department of Human Services. So some of you guys called it DFS, Department of Children's Services, Department of Child Protection Services. DHS is also Department of Human Services. That's what it is. But that's a good, thank you for pointing that out.
The taxes on it for him.
So when it comes to a trust fund set up for Michael's children, are there multiple trust funds set up? There was mention of that in, I believe, the statement given by the attorney for the family.
There was one trust fund set up for Michael Jr.
By the
Tuohys, because Michael Oher would not accept the checks.
Why do you think Michael Oher has made these allegations? What do you think is behind it?
We don't know.
One thing I wanted to ask, I was talking to a lawyer earlier today. Typically, when a conservatorship is set up, there's a GAL, or I think it was called guardian ad litem, to help act as a point person. Or
somebody pointed this out. A lot of you guys pointed this out. Some of you guys said that the adoption process would have taken so long. Y'all remember, like you would have to think, why are there so many check boxes when somebody's getting adopted versus somebody that just needs a conservatorship? Like, maybe things like this in an adoption would be like called out. You know, there might be somebody who says in there, well, we need this child or this family to have some type of a home study, some type of a psychological review, something review of their assets, yada yada yada. You know, why not allow that? Even that's what I'm saying. If their intent was to adopt, even if they said we're going to get conservatorship now and then adoption later, they didn't even intend to do that. They only did one. I don't know. I think it's important to maybe have a checks and balance with all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let me hit play on this.
well, like Michael, but there wasn't any mention of that in the petition. What is this true? Was there no GAL?
It's funny you asked that. We were just looking at that. The GAL was waived by Judge Benham. He waived the requirement of a GAL. Remember this, Michael was 18. He was a party to the petition. His mother was there. And Judge Benham saw fit to waive the appointment of a guardian ad litem.
What has the relationship been like between Michael and the Tuohys in more recent years? Have they been in close contact? Has he still been quote unquote part of the family, or have they been a little more estranged?
No, he's been estranged since then, probably for the last 10 years or so, and becoming more and more vocal and more threatening.
So in the original filing too, Mr. Oher says that he, there's a document, a contract signed where it basically strips him of his rights and his name rights, and where he doesn't get any money out of anything coming. but he's not sure if his signature is the one on the document and doesn't remember signing it. Is there a response to that?
It's patently false. He's negotiated his own contract with the NFL. He's hired and fired agents. The Tuohys have never had to sign off on any of that. He's done that all himself.
Is that typically how it would work with a conservatorship, or are they working around the conservatorship in terms of the negotiations that he did on his own with the NFL, shoot deals, etc.?
Well, generally, all depending on what the circumstances are. Remember, this conservatorship was set up for the purpose that I indicated earlier, so that if he chose to go to Ole Miss, there would not be an issue about Sean being a booster. And that was the sole reason. And after that got done, nobody really gave it. So typically, there might well be the requirement of a conservator to execute a contract. Okay, but in this case, he executed his own, and nobody ever objected to it. Certainly, the Tuohys didn't object to it. They didn't want to know part of his money. They would have done anything to help him had he needed them to. But he negotiated his own deals and made his own money. And I think he made $35 million playing right tackle in football.
The way he's making it sound like is that it was very purposeful for whatever, college, Ole Miss, whatever. And that's what it was. And they completely forgot about it. They moved on with their lives. It wasn't a huge deal. He was able to negotiate his contracts, yada, 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 yada. That's what it sounds like to me. But I think what is concerning and continues to be a worry is like, why that decision, and then why continue to say that he's the adopted son when clearly he's not? He's not. He is saying that allegedly he said he didn't make money off of this movie. They're saying the opposite of that. I don't know. SW, thank you for gifting a membership.
Just so I'm clear, it was $100,000, not 200 or 225 that he was given.
We believe it to be $100,000 per person, 5 shares.
And that was when the movie initially came out. Whether there's any more funds when this movie is in DVD sales and other checks.
As time goes on, I expect there may be additional revenues.
So how much revenue did the Tuohys make? All the appearances?
As I indicated, $100,000 per person, approximately. I'm guessing at it, but it's right around that number.
But that was for the contract. They also got 2.5% of the net proceedings, right? So
that's where the money comes from.
Okay. So the 100,000 is both the initial, whatever it's 14,000 or whatever that was, plus you're estimating if all the checks that have come total to 100,000.
Yeah. Remember, this is 48 hours old, so I don't have the numbers at the tip of my tongue, but that's
it's over the span of time.
Yeah, I believe that to be correct.
The reason why we didn't have this come more to the forefront earlier when the movie came out, a big part of that was that he was adopted. Why was this now that's coming from?
I didn't understand your question. What did you say?
So one thing that some of my coworkers were wondering is that a big part of the movie made it seem like he was adopted, and that was a big part of it. Why did it take so long from when that was going around and when that was making money to conservatorship coming out even in 2011?
Well, even in the movie, I think there were reference to a conservatorship. I don't think there was a reference to an adoption in the movie. But to your point, they always treated him as a son. They took him into the family. They did all the things that you would do for a son. So, why 2023 when he acknowledged in 2011 that there was a need of conservatorship? You'll have to ask Mr. Oher that.
I asked that question earlier. That was my question because he mentioned that when Michael wrote the book in 2011, he said conservatorship 3 times in that book. Right, Mama? He did. That's what he said. Simply Monica says, and who's to say that they didn't keep it in place simply reserves the power to stop him from negotiating something they didn't approve of, or any other action they didn't approve of. Right. So what if, did they care enough? How were these, like was it pretty black and white? Did they enforce certain things in this whole conservatorship? Chico, thank you for gifting memberships. Thank you.
So Mr. Oher also, in addition to ending the conservatorship, looks like he's also looking to get, kind of back pay from what he thinks he's owed over time. Has he presented a figure to the Tuohys as to what he's looking for?
No.
Would you be willing, in addition to dissolving the conservatorship, to have an accounting of?
He's asked for an accounting. That'll be a pretty simple process, I expect.
Would you mind taking a step closer to the microphones? We're having
All right, give me one sec. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? It can be very confusing, but I'm like looking forward to see kind of what happens out of this whole thing, because I'm kind of wondering like what are they going to do moving forward? I think that they would have to release, first of all, it's the conservatorship. It doesn't look like there's going to be a dispute to that. The Tuohys are saying we don't care about the we can lift it or whatever. I guess the question is, why didn't they lift it before? Why do they keep it going? And then I guess they referred to him as their son. Clearly on the website is there, but why didn't they adopt him? Why didn't they make this legal? I mean, if they were gifting him cars, or at least not gifting him, but buying him cars, if they were allowing him in his house, if he lived at their house, broke bread with everybody in the table, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? It just, to me, it gets to me, because here's a kiddo that I would think was looking for some level of normalcy, right? And here you have a family that's willing to give that to him and has plenty of it, for him. I'm just wondering. Clearly, Michael feels that he was taken advantage of by his alleged parents. I think one can make the argument that he probably was. If things are laid out, and that's just my opinion, I'm just by what I'm seeing. And I think he's just expressing that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Deborah. Says, seems like no good deed goes unpunished. I think they were just looking out for Michael's best interest, says Deborah. Shout out to Deborah. SW, thank you for gifting memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just sad for him. No matter what happened, he clearly doesn't feel love he once thought he had. Right. All right, says, yeah, why would they not just immediately drop the conservatorship and publicly apologize to Michael? That's what I'm saying. Even if the adoption took however long it did, there's a reason why maybe there's, check marks. Check the box for this. Check the box for that. Check the box to see if you're the right people to adopt this child, right? People make it sound like, well, it was like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I don't know. Right, baby bunny? I don't know, guys. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments about this whole situation. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for engaging in this conversation with me. I was very curious, and I guess we'll see where it goes from here. Yeah, baby bunny's over here yelling at me, so I got to go tend to her. Let me know your thoughts about this. Can you guys do me a favor? Make sure you hit the like button. And if you're subscribed, thank you. Consider subscribing, of course, and hitting that like button. I will see you guys on the next one. I think I'll probably do another live here in a little bit, but I'm just weighing in to see what topic it's going to be a true crime topic for sure. And we'll go from there. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.